I got that feeling. I'm back and forth. Back, forth. 1 hour. I hope you're wearing headphones. 1 hour. 1 hour. I'm checking in. Checking in and saying what's up. We got a intense week ahead, and it's brewing. So for some of you who watched my live stream the other night, I hope you watched it. I sort of energetically plan those. At the same time, it has no structure. So when I go on a 40-minute speech in the beginning of it and then get to the transits, there's people who won't last that long. And the people that do are my people. So saying that, I will go over a couple quick things and a couple things on my mind. I will also talk about some logistical types of things here in the astrology world. I'm going to mention a couple things, and that's it. I can't do what I normally do, which is fine, because we must stay and live on the edge of tomorrow and not live in astrological career influencer mediocrity. Okay, so you understand now how I roll. All right, so say hi. I see Scorpio Muse in chat, and I see Tanya Stone. Hello, and KP to 1231. I just blasted you right there. So what's up? You got any questions? You throw them in chat if you want. I answer them. If I can, I can't. And that's the deal, okay? So let's jump into something. I want to start off by reading some words, okay? I'm going to read some words to you. You ready? I got to pause my little view there. Yeah, are you ready? So these are the words I want you to take in. Think about, meditate on, eat, destroy, contemplate, do what you will with the words I'm going to say. Powerful. We know that one, don't we? And how it's used. And I feel like I got a powerful sneeze coming on, so give me a second. Stare into the light, Nicholas. Powerful. Taboo. So we have powerful and we have taboo. We have hidden, rebirth, shameful. So powerful, taboo, hidden, shameful, extreme, obsessive. I'm saying these words to you. So what am I describing, since this is an astrological YouTube channel that is on a mission of 100,000 subscribers, that once I hit a certain thresholds along the way for those to join my, the cult, no, that's not the word, the adventure of this channel. What am I talking about? What am I referencing when I say powerful, sacred, taboo, death, rebirth, transformation, regeneration, obsession? I see a comment in chat. Initiation. See, that's one you don't really hear for this one, but that's definitely, in my book, initiation is a good descriptor of this planetary body And if I were to pick a planet that is this represents this channel, it would be this one that I'm talking about cryptically. In the end, that's what it is, and that's what my intention is. So, compulsion, possession, vengeance, uncovering, survival, ruthlessness, force, the occult, persecution, investigation, research. So, Pluto is the glyph of this channel. It is if there was to be a banner or a flag or a crest, that glyph would be in there, okay? And with snakes around it and something representing the world, and then something representing underworld, and then something showing or representing above the world. So I guess there are 3 little stages. So saying these words, and if you made it this far and you're new, you could subscribe and enter in the chamber of the underground. Because some of these words that I use are fully in play as we speak. And you know, part of the reason why I'm briefly going live is because on that live stream that I did that was centered around Mars in Leo, fire sign, and several other narratives that are going on, if no one didn't catch that, is that many people who write horoscopes or astrologers and influencers, some of them are influencers who use astrology, some of them are astrologers that have become influencers, some of them are just astrologers. A very common thing that I've seen in the last month, remember, the last month and a half are 3 retrogrades, 2 eclipses, okay? That's a lot. It's a lot, okay? So, but one of the most common things I saw was everyone wishing and wanting and doing that collective victimization thing that people do online about, I can't wait till Mars leaves Cancer. I can't wait till this is done. Oh, you know, this is what happened to me today. Can you believe it? And everybody piles in on the comments and they go, I can't wait for it to leave either. So, okay. You got what you wanted, which is the inevitable when we look at transits. You can't control that shit. So you got what you wanted. Mars went into Leo. Everything's great, right? Everything's fine. I think it's great from a perspective of like things must move forward, and Mars is part of the astrological narrative right now. So you have no choice but to accept that. Now, for all those who've been complaining, bitching about it, Mars being in Cancer, I hope you saw that as soon as it ingressed, that it's in a massive power play with Pluto and the Sun, and there's a massive T-square happening that's off the bat. So it's like, is that what you were wishing for? Is that what you were wanting? Somebody like me, I accept whatever. I accept the inevitables, right? But if I were having to choose, if I were one to be able to move planets, and like I wanted to stay here for 2 more days, or I wanted it to end 3 days ago, and I could do that, I wouldn't necessarily, based on people learning and what astrology is and what we've come to learn and what we learn in history, I wouldn't necessarily be chomping at the bit and wanting to go into a Mars-Pluto situation, okay? Unless one was using it for certain types of purposes and they knew a thing. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about narratives on the internet, what astrologers do, and whatever. So if everybody's like, I can't wait for this to be done. You can't wait for it to be done so you can do a Mars-Pluto opposition. The third one, you know, in the last since fall, Northern Hemisphere, but back then. So again, it's interesting here because it's a thing of information, and it's a thing of what I will always mention on this channel is that you can watch me and you can listen to any other astrologer, and then some of you are astrologers or learning that in the end you have to, on your own, have to come to a place of discernment and understanding with what transits are in your world at the time, or what they could be, or what they were. What they were, by the way, is one of the best places to meditate on, because you actually have some concrete storyline evidence for the most part. So saying that, you have to come to a place of like, is it fucked or not? Or is it this or not? Or is it what Nicholas said or not? Or any other person out there, influencer, is saying, and how they're saying it and how they're packaging it. So the other day, I packaged the Mars and Leo live stream, and I meant everything that I said, and it comes from my it comes from my core, my ethics of what I stand for. So you can go watch that if you're watching later. I'll put the link here later. It's in the copy. You can go check it out. But for those who were complaining about transits like this, I question the complaining thing in general, because I think it's natural to complain as human beings. But I think the other thing human beings do is you acknowledge things in emotions or certain life situations with whatever tools that you're using. And then at some point, you have to kind of grasp the whole thing and then choose to how you react to it or use it or whatever. And that is probably the most powerful thing that humans do. And it's what I tell my clients. You know, if we're talking about transits in the chart, if certain things can come up with the timing, like, listen, I might be flowing over the next 3 months, but there's these certain things that you could work and use to get you through or whatever, but you have the choice to do this or not, or you have the choice to when you're feeling something and you tell yourself, well, I process this and I don't want to feel this again, or put myself in this position in life where I end up in this place again. You make the choice. And when the situation comes in the future, you choose whether or not you want to do that again, or you choose to do it in a different way. And that is the story of life. And if one can understand that and know that you crash and burn and fail sometimes, and other times you grow, it's pretty much the best way you could do things. But you're being conscious of yourself and your place in the world with nature and other people. So that is the power. That to me is astrology. Okay. So, but if I were to sell myself on the internet as creating situations where even if I had a bad transit going on, I've had some challenging transits in my personal life the last couple of months. You don't see me using it to sell something or to create a situation where everyone's like, I can't wait for it to leave. And then it's like, okay, Mars and Cancer left and it's a Mars-Pluto opposition. Did they say that? Did they say that they can't wait for it to leave because they can't wait for a Mars-Pluto opposition? So for me, I would say I glad, I learned things during a transit. And here we have this particular thing building up all week with a T-square, things in fixed signs. If you have early degree stuff in fixed signs, it could be challenging, but it shouldn't be surprising. And if you use and watch astrology, that's what you have to understand for yourself. You have to understand, like, well, I heard this, this, and this. Is it that? And if it is, something I see, it's evidence, it's the evidence in my life that it's there, then what and how can I understand and manage it or work with it or whatever? And I think wherever one goes to do astrology or whatever, to get reflection, that is the key. If you're going to get a reading with somebody, if you're going to spend your energy and time reading a blog or a Substack, if you're, everything is like, does it funnel into that place, or does it funnel into victimization and memes that really seem to be something, but they're not. Okay. So it's a thing here that for me, it's very important to say. It's part of the reason why I went live here. The other is I'm going to go through quick transits. So I'm going to go in the chat in a second because I see a bunch of people joining in, But remember, yes, we're building towards we're in the middle of Mars Pluto right now this particular week, and it's going to, come in next week, but it still carries on afterwards. You do not have to be a victim to things or transits. There are things that happen to you that you have no control over, and you could find yourself in that type of place. But if you are aware of your narratives in your life, you have the choice, pretty much, of how to take in things and how to take action and how to understand. And when you notice yourself doing repetitive patterns, and you actually notice the repetitive pattern that you're doing, that is when you can make the change and find the tools or the people or the right herbal tea and the magnesium salt bath to help your ass out. But know that there's always tough transits and things that come across, and for what we see on paper could be tough for many people and not for other people. It could be, because of their chart, very positively or influential at the time. So for me, it's very important to say this. What words did I say in the beginning of this stream? I said powerful, sacred, taboo, shameful. This is all Pluto words. Ruthlessness, control, power, obsession, investigating, research, which is a great way to use Pluto, by the way, persecution, mysteries, occult, on and on and on. And yes, so let's take a look at chat. And I'm going to pull this up here. I want to say hi, Scorpio Muse and Tanya and KP. I saw you here earlier. Hello, Catherine. Thanks for letting me know about the headphones. Some of you, yes, called out Pluto. Black Moon Jesus. Hello, Carl. Carl says, what is Pluto up to now? Well, he's been quiet. He's always there. Yeah, but we're about to have, there's eruptions happening. I think we might see more of this in world politics, to be honest. But anyway, but again, if you're a type of person that has early degree fixed stuff or something like that, you see if this is something, But a lot of times, I think with transits like this, when the inner body planets are involved with outer body planets, this is when everything can come up to the surface. I'm a believer of that as an astrologer, right? So saying that, sometimes though, when we deal with Plutonian aspects and stuff, it can be very personal and internal. And it could be happening around you, like to other people, which it does happen to you because you're in the situation. So it's interesting. Sometimes you could see a Mars-Pluto power play happening with people in the sense it doesn't affect you. But it could bring up Pluto stories within you, even though it has something to do with somebody else or the world or whatever else. So it's so limitless, astrology and our understanding of it. And for me, I love doing one-on-one readings because I need to pay the bills and I have my goals and I want to grow my channel, my clientele, all that stuff. But the initial thing about doing consultations is like, what am I going to learn today? I know these transits, I know these aspects, I'm still learning, and I always hear a new way of what a transit is, or when we talk about forecasting for the next 12 months, we go, hey, these are some of the themes. I'm like, okay, and I always tell people, I can't answer your emails, but please send me your emails if something comes up. So 6 months later, something we talked about, all of a sudden, the story pops up, and it is a way that I've never heard, let's say, Saturn square Saturn situations happening for someone for a whole year, right? So in a particular part of the chart, right? So, and it's there where I'm like, wow, it happened that way. We were on point, the client and I, we were looking at it together, but it happened that way. And that is a way I've never, ever even heard before. And so, the mystery of things and the one's placement in the world of feeling like they are connected or in control, but I always have to tell myself, I don't know everything, we don't know everything, and we can forecast what happens, and sometimes precisely, but most of the time I have to take the attitude of like, but I don't know how it's going to happen most of the time. And for me, if I were to make a prediction and it were to come pretty good and close, it actually, what happens to me is it's humbling to me. I don't want to say like, yo te dije, like I told you so, or something like that. It's more like, okay, like it happened and that's it. Like I don't want to touch it anymore. There's no bragging, there's no nothing. I don't need to make a post on the internet or to use for clout chasing or anything like that, because you're touching some holy shit. Did I just use those two words? Holy predicaments. So to me, I'm go quiet. I'm like, whoa. Like, and not only that, it's like, I don't want to chase it. I don't want to chase it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to, it's like if I had a sip of eternal sweet destiny for once and everything was clear and everything synced up in all the right places, would I want to keep drinking more of that sip of that something? Or would I take a sip and be like, that is so beyond, but so connected that I must let that go? If this makes sense, right? What I'm saying to you. So again, things like Mars-Pluto oppositions or what can happen in your life, we want to be centered and aware and somewhat objective, but at the same time, we're involved. We have that sweet space, the dance that we do, especially if there are harder, challenging narratives in our lives or something happens in the world that it seems can affect all of us and it has a major ending signature or it's, Mars and Pluto are setting up. It's like a bomb going off. So it's like, that's not the most happiest of things to look forward to, so on and so forth. Okay, so anyway, hi Barish, I see you at chat along with Angel, Philip, Cosmic Challenger, and Violet is here. Thanks for being here, y'all. K Michelle, welcome. Hello, Orphic Astrology. So they say Mars is resurrecting Pluto with the sun. It's interesting. There's certain concepts here. I think Pluto in the astrology world is such a young concept that if we use the old rules in astrology, we cannot help. We must use them and then break them. I break them. But, we do have a fast moving planet like Mars that's probably could seem like the dominant planet in the current transits. But I'm also one of these people that it could at first seem that way, but I think planets like Pluto and Neptune and Uranus just have their say. They're just so powerful. It just doesn't seem like they win at the time if it's a win-lose scenario, because I think Mars-Pluto opposition is very win-lose scenario, but they long-term, they do their thing, So, hello, Christina S., interesting timing today since we're dealing with early degree fixed this week. GME, the ocean is helping you out. Good for you. Why are you watching the stream? Go jump in the ocean. Hey, Jan Halverson, another channel member. Thanks. What's up? It's good to see you here. Yelena is here. And did I miss anybody? I didn't, at least in chat. So saying that, let's go quickly here over this. Okay, I did this on the stream the other night, which was more of an eruption on my end. It was more for me. Those things are like talking to myself. I know you guys are out there, but I go on these things because can you imagine if you had Pluto on your moon like now, like me, and then like, let's just look at it right now. Am I going to pull my chart up? Not really. But let's look at something here, because if anybody's going through a Mars-Pluto transit and stuff, it's me, okay? So saying that, and I only got like 40 minutes left on the stream maximum, I'm going to move the transits to right now, okay? So here is a 1 degree Mars, okay? Here's 1 degree sun. Happy birthday, Taurus. You get to start your birthdays with a Mars Sun square and with Pluto, okay? That's what you get to do. That's what you get. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Here's the underworld for you. So with Mars, very empowering. Could be. You just got to get off your ass if you've been springly stale. So saying that, we have this 1 degree thing. I have a 2 degree Aquarius moon, just so you all know. So even this past week or whatever, and Pluto's there, I'm there. I'm living the story. It's there. Now, what do? Did I wish for this? Did I complain and go, I can't wait till Mars and Cancer stops so I can go to Mars and Leo? No, I don't do that. But I'll tell you, on my end, because I am, this is who I am, I said, I look forward to this transit. I remember telling myself 6 months ago or whenever it was, I'm just looking at stuff. I'm like, oh, well, here we go. And I'm like, here we go. I'm like, all right, bring it on. Bring it on. Now, if I were to sell my wares as an astrologer and I said Pluto was on my moon and I was going to have Mars opposite the moon and eventually my Mars here, that's what I'm doing, the next couple of weeks. If I came across and did a live stream and I made some posts and I said, oh my God, I cannot deal. I won't be able to deal. Oh my God, just like this whole thing is this, so-and-so Pluto, but this Venus and Pisces transit is iconic. Use some stupid ass trendy words on social media. And then I was like, get a reading with me. Now, if I was just to be me and I said, oh, this might be challenging for myself, but you know what? Bring it on. This is who I am. This is how I roll on my channel in life, how I approach things. Even if I'm scared, I'm like, there's nothing I could do except I accept what the nature is giving me and what the planets are giving me and the puppet strings are doing. So for me, that is the attitude, especially with something like this. It's bring it on, because I will know the truth, and all the truth that has come up in or pondering of truths. We've had the last 2 months. We have a Jupiter in Gemini that's been ruled most of the time here by a Mercury in Pisces and Aries. So it's the understanding of one's bigger vision and truth right here, and having to process and understand that during Venus and Mars retrogrades and eclipses. For me, it's like I'm taking all that, and I'm taking all of that and everything that just pulled in information-wise and what I surmised and reviewed and threw away and constructed in my mind and in my heart and my dreams as a massive mercurial person. I'm bringing it into a square and an opposition this week in my personal life. Now, what do I do? Do I hide? Do I hide? Do I not talk to anybody or function or whatever? Like, no, I have no choice. I have to pay the rent. I have to survive. I must put myself out there. There's that. And then in general for me, I'm like, no, I must do this because I at least have a bit of experience in life where you cannot avoid things. And if I take the attitude of avoidance and victimization, then I'm losing knowledge. I am losing some bit of divinity that will come my way. That's me. That's my attitude. So, for me, when I see tense aspects and then in my life or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm willing to talk about it and go there. Or I can't talk about it, but I'm in there. I feel it. And then I can understand, even if it's difficult. And again, the reason why I'm doing this quick stream is to tell you all, if you're having hard situations in your life and the reflective in transits, I feel for you. And times you got to go hide away and take care of yourself. I get it. But you can't run away from them. You cannot run away. You cannot run away from certain choices that need to be made, certain decisions, certain crossroads to be in. You just cannot. So what would you do? Again, and I tell clients this, if they're the type of client that they're ready for something like this, is like, you become the transit. You might as well use it or find a way to use it and understand it. So at least you feel that you understand where you are emotionally, where you stand, and if you were able to take it to another level, that you actually feel that you have choice for the most part. You have choice in the matter. And when you make that switch, no matter how intense it is in the moment, when you're able to make that switch, divinity comes through. Always does. It's always there. But that's when like you're able to like put it into form or calculate it, or you acknowledge it within yourself and the world. Like you get to have that. So if we're going to deal with Mars, Pluto, and T-square all week and this stuff, and who knows what the hell's going to happen in the next 24 hours news cycle wise, that's when you're like, wait a second, I know this. As a matter of fact, how comfortable am I with Mars remediations in my life? Do I know how to use Mars in my life? How do I do too much Mars in my life? Do I not know how to do it? Am I scared of it? It's a place to start, right? You want to throw Pluto in a concoction for yourself and see if you can harness something? I'm going to say go for it. We know that there's byproduct to decisions and concoctions, and you have to understand that. So when things, if they do go a little too far and explode in your face, you at least could say, I chose this. I own the situation. I chose it. And the byproduct that happens, it needs to do with forgiving yourself or forgiving other people, that's a great position. Or there's other situations and people in your life where you're like, that is now eliminated. It is in the effing garbage, and I'm never going back to that position again. I just threw that shit out. And even though one has to shed tears with throwing stuff out in the garbage, you did this. You chose it. Even though it's not perfect and it sucks, you understand it. So stuff like this, with intense transits like this, maybe this week, for those who are using the internet to complain about a Mars and Cancer transit that seemed way too long and they can't wait for Mars to go into Leo, they're about to see what Mars goes into Leo does here. Now, after aftermath, are you going to wish it was back in Cancer? Doesn't matter. You can't do anything about that. But on this channel, for me, there ain't no wishing for this transit to happen or whatever. We're at the mercy. We're at the mercy to nature in the transit. And if you take the position like this, it changes everything. Because then you're walking around aware and humbled, and you just interact with life in the world that way. That is a preachy thing on my end. So, I'll get to chat in a second. We have this. Am I in the camera? My camera angles are really weird. I'm going to change my setup here soon. So, saying that, let me do this. Let us start here again. A review. We woke up this morning to Venus, Uranus. We talked about this on the last live stream. Let's point it out. Going to go fast here. We woke up to Venus, Uranus. This 25 degree, 26 degree mark is fascinating to me because Venus is just hitting there, and we just had the station, so it's 24, 25 for a while, and then Saturn's moving forward slow, so it's like, they're like rocks right there. Saturn's just kind of sitting there with the node, and we're going to do that later this week. That's there, So anyway, we did that, and then there is the Mercury-Pluto thing. It's part of the reason why I went to stream is Mercury-Pluto, because I'm channeling that. But there's 3, and there's 3 right there. There it is, right? So we did this already. This is going to be quick. We did this last week. Here is this building. It's already there. Saturn node. You know what? Is it a wash? Is it a wash? Does it seem lost? Maybe. I don't think so with Saturn sitting there, to be honest. If you have tendencies to have Pisces stuff in your chart or whatever else, or you think that it's going to be like, I'll tell you, man, if you want to use Saturn in this certain position, and it's ruled by Jupiter in Gemini, and it's this kind of thing, you really could actually take the next step in solidifying a certain part of the Jupiter-Saturn square that's been happening for, we're almost a year into it. There's going to be a year in June. That if you need a way to look at this, is to think about it with Jupiter, Saturn, the two mutable Gemini and Pisces situation. This is a massive step this week in that story. If you're one that had this story play out in those parts of your chart, right? So this is good. I like this. Now, I talked to another colleague this past week. who I adore. They're brilliant. They've been doing it for 50 some years. And they said, Nicholas, if you were to be as a practicing astrologer, what would you say your bread and butter is, your distinct thing that you do? Because if you notice, I don't advertise it. If you go to check out and get a reading and go there, and I'll put that link there in a second, I'm on my website that's archaic and I say, I'm so-and-so and I specialize in astrocartography or blah, 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 blah. I don't say that. Now, this person really, not to confront me, but they challenge me in a way like, Nicholas, if you were to pick a type of astrology that your thing, what would it be? Well, we know this channel's Pluto based, okay? So we know that. But overall, if I think about my practicing over the years, and it's been a long go, like since the early 90s when I first jumped into astrology and I met some Scorpio girl who introduced me to it, and she, used Linda Goodman's love signs book to tell me why we weren't going to ever make it because she was Scorpio woman and I was a Gemini male. If you go read that book, that whole chapter is hilarious. And I just didn't what? Well, why do you have me here? He's like, well, read this book. Anyway, that's how I jumped in. I didn't know I had a Scorpio 7th house at that point. Anyway, regardless, if I think about my journey through astrology is studying clients and all the charts and everything else, it's Saturn that sticks out to me. I have clients come to me with certain situations and other things. They know astrology and they're like, "Oh, help me with my Pluto transit." No problem. We'll do our best. We'll talk. Let's chat it up. But it's the common denominator. It's Kronos. It's Saturn. Now, do I change my website and say I specialize in Saturn work? Because they were saying from a business perspective that I probably get a lot more clients. And if I looked at Saturn, but I'm thinking about it, but at the same time, I'm like, you can't tell a Mars and Aquarius that you're going to differentiate yourself, which I cannot help but do. At the same time, it's limiting. I don't want to limit myself, which is funny because what's the planet that deals with limitations? Anyway, it's like some crazy-ass cosmic joke. But Saturn in this chart is a thing. And it's like, if you were to pick a planet this week and you're like the Mars-Pluto situation was happening, I would say you be Mars this week. I did on my live stream. I just fucking, especially when it comes to like fighting for something and with the stupid shit that's happening to us, because of cruel people out there. To me, I'm like, Mars. Know that you're going to have Pluto situation, but Mars all the way. Now, if I were to pick another planet this week to be like, hey, I'm with you, or you with me, I need you, I actually would pick Saturn. I would. And so the reason is because of that ongoing mutable Jupiter-Saturn square and a major chapter in the story, I think, this week with the North Node. And again, those are attached to eclipses that we recently have, and the big ones that are happening 6 months from now. And I'm going to go switch up on a tangent here because let's do it so you understand my deeper thinking of this. If I go to September 7th of 2025 and we pull up this chart, here is 15-degree full moon in Pisces. You see Mercury's in Virgo, but you see Saturn here at 29. So we're already moved forward. Let's come back at the 29 degrees, okay? It's like, okay, Jupiter is here ruling this, by the way, because it rules Pisces, right? And we got an interesting mutual reception going on here with this eclipse. So we doing like 3 interesting lunations with 30 days. I'll get to that in a second. But you see this. Okay, so there's that, okay? The reason why I'm talking about Saturn right now, I'm going to pick the 21st there on the 25th. We'll go there. And then I'll go, okay, let's take a look. Now, here is the 29-degree new moon. This is a solar eclipse that happens in Virgo. Now, 30 days before this, in the end of August, we have another Virgo full moon. So we have 2 Virgo new moons that happen in 30 days, 0-1 degrees. But here's this one. Now, here's 29, and here's Saturn. And Saturn is directly opposite this. And so for me, it's situations like now in this week if you are affected by these transits in a Saturnian situation with the North Node, or you got Pisces something in your chart at the later degrees, all that, you must know that this week and whatever this, all the Pisces stuff we've dealt with the last couple months and the retrogrades, everything in the North Node Saturn conjunction that happens officially 4:31 here in the morning, tomorrow on the 21st, is connected to this particular point in time 6 months from now. If you're one of these people that have, this major story, let's say in the mutable parts of your chart or Virgo, Pisces parts of your chart. So that's why I'm bringing it up this way on this forecast. I didn't mention it the other day, but take a note, okay? So saying that, Door Destroy, hello channel member, thank you. Astro Stephanie, hello, Sunday. Hello, Isha. Yeah, witness Pluto. Be Pluto. I'm all about I get a chance to be Pluto this week and Mars. I'm like, that ought to be interesting. I'm going to do that then. It's hitting my own chart. I will do it then. I choose. Yes, I choose. Say yes. Madalena is in here in the chat. Hey, Blackthorn and Kevin, good to see you in here in chat. Sarah's in here. Good pep talk. That's good. Hello, Jagger. Hi. Catherine's geeking out on how this Mars coming out of shadow flows into Pluto retrograde. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, you get what people want. Like, hey, we're finally done with this. You get it. Not only are you done with it, you get to do it with Pluto. So saying that, I want to go back. This is the September 21st, 2025 chart. To me, the way I'm looking at things, it is connected to Saturn North Node conjunction. It's really been around for a while now, for weeks, but it's official here on tomorrow. Then, Tuesday, late Tuesday, we deal with a moon going into Pisces until Wednesday. I talked about that on my forecast, and it's on the 23rd, basically, that we're inching towards the official Sun-Pluto square that happens midweek. As a quick reminder, right here, you see it. It's there now, and there's Mars. And let us not forget, whenever we have a T-square, so there it is like this, even though it's going to look like a trine, this is a T-square happening here. We're building up. We have to recognize each part of the chart, I think, each Taurus, Leo, Aquarius. But I think the secret thing, this is more modern astrology way of looking at this and helping. The secret way to this is that you look at the other fixed sign that really has nothing going on here. Well, it's a lot of spirits there, but we could use that, but is Scorpio. So sometimes to alleviate T-square pressures, we will look to scorpionic themes or the part of the chart to kind of round it in or to bring something in there or to add more to the tension. Regardless, it's just a quick thought there for you all. When we deal with T-squares or you have T-squares in your chart, let's say, sometimes we deal what they call the apex of the chart. So here is the square, right? The Sun, the square, and Mars, and then here's the Pluto, correct? And then here's the apex, and that's the place one can focus on. That's one that, in a sense, is in between and could relieve the pressure or bring more. But then on the other end, you could see here, if you were to go look at the scorpionic part of the chart, especially if you're affected by this, or, let's say you don't have anything early degrees Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, but you have early degrees Scorpio. This affects you this week. So there's different ways of looking at this. But for the basic looking at transits, we can look to the Scorpio part to actually help relieve some of this, is one way to look at this. Okay, so let's take a look at chat. Hello, Tara. Good to see you here. Cosmic Supermarket. Good morning from the mountain. The mountain. If I had my way, well, I would live on the mountain. That means I would have to walk down from the mountain to get provisions. And that means I would have to walk back up the mountain with the provisions. And that means that I would have to figure out a way to relieve the weight of that. So it's a gondola that I would build, or some sort of rope system, or I would get a donkey or a goat to help me go to the top of the mountain and back. I just had to make sure that they were well fed. So let's point out, then here we have the Venus North Node conjunction. Now this could seem like boundaryless Venus and Pisces stuff that is, it's pretty sweet, but Saturn's in the game this week. That's why I'm saying Saturn's so important here, and why I mentioned the eclipses later on this week. I don't know whether to say because Venus is, loves being in Pisces, but considering the journey, Venus is very powerful right now, still, moving out of the retrograde. You have to make the call on this one. If you've been overboard, or if you disassociate, or you run away, or you find the ways to, like, I guess if you have Mars Pluto in your life this week and things are intense, I guess you can go to Venus here and find your relief. I mean, the moon is in Pisces there Wednesday. It is sort of an oasis. It just depends on how you do it and what it is. Are you actually running away from something and becoming something else to avoid yourself or avoid a situation? Or is it a beautiful respite healing place of when you only have a half heart left playing Zelda and you need the fucking fairy fountain? So that's what that is. It could be that. But remember, Saturn's in the game, and we're building here that Venus is pretty much at a conjunction with Saturn. So there is still a certain type of duty and obligation to everything. If Saturn wasn't there, it's a whole different beast. But Saturn's been there the whole time recently with Venus. That's just how it goes. But if you learn the lessons and you know how to work the two with the node, you can see something ahead. You can. You there's something there, but it just depends on who you are and how you deal with situations. There's plenty of people out there that they have natal Neptunian Venus aspects in their chart. Just ask them how they deal with relationships in their life or the lessons that they learned. If you can get it out of them, they're either really become jaded later on in life because of running on a love dream, and they will speak truth to power. In one sense, we could say Saturn being here, it helps with that. But some of them will be like still betting on a idealistic way of doing love, regardless of the consequences of certain realities that happen. It just depends, right? So, I'm a Saturn Venus dude. I will tell you the truth, but then I am a Venus Neptune person. You see how I am in the world. So it's like, one can idealistically engage in the world. I could poetically do it. I still do it. But how far do I go? And do I mask certain realities in relating or in the world because I don't want to see them, because just Venus and Pisces, or if it was a Venus-Neptune position, but then you cannot avoid realities. And then that's the harsh truth of something getting knocked off on the pedestal, then in the sense that you elevated and worshipped. And then all of a sudden there's a Saturnian situation that comes that just crushes it all. But can one learn to still believe in idealistic love and hopeful love and it's compassionate, but it has a container to be in that is stable and long lasting and has its limitations for good reasons? That's why we like Saturn, to bring into situations like this. But, a lot of times we will learn the hard way because of Saturn. If I'm talking about those who have Venus and Pisces or Venus Neptune situations or stuff like that. Okay. So, just want to acknowledge 11 Levities here. Good to see you, JS Ballard. Good to see you again, JS Ballard. AV's in the house. Hey, good to see you. Astro Stephanie. Wow. Nestle. Hello, Nestle. We choose whom to be on earth and everything else as well. We choose. And we choose how to react to what happens, to what we cannot control. Definitely. JS Ballard's got Venus in Leo, 3 degrees. Go work, go use your body. Go use your body and go sweat. Anybody who's got fire stuff, if you need a quick thing, and let's say if you're down and out, it's one thing, but if the tension is there this week and you want to do something in a way to help it, go move your body. Fire needs to move, needs to burn out a little bit in a healthy way. So my opinion there. All right, I have 10 minutes. Okay, so then it's the next day. We talked about this in the last live stream. There's the Venus-Saturn conjunction that's going to happen. Man, it's like this. It's like I got this ring for you. Yes or no? That's what that could be like. Now, sometimes it's, I got this contract for you to sign. You agreed to this. Yes or no? Now, this shouldn't be a surprise because of this. Deviating, Nicholas. I'm going to leave this stream really fast because I have something I have scheduled here very, very soon. Is Venus... January 18th. First Venus-Saturn conjunction. 16 degrees. Look at this. Look at that. Remember Mars gestation? Anyway. Next one. April 7th. My mic is hot. I can feel the popping noises. There. Mercury was in the game. Look at the degrees that we're at. We're 25, 26, 27. April 7th. We're not even so many weeks ago. It's 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. This week, there we are. Just so happens the moon is in the game with it too. And will you... You must You've been subpoenaed. Sign this. But you said, remember? Back in January, you said. And I asked you again on April 7th. We were about to separate. But then we had an argument, and I know what you felt. You know what I felt. Then we fornicated and had orgasms, and everything was good. But did it really go away, the realities of the relationship? And so basically here this week, the final conjunction, Saturn-Venus. Will you? Well, you're not going to do it. The dream. Is it forever, really? And it takes a lot of hard work, actually. The Venus dream, the love dream. Or is it done? That's some cold, hard reality right there. In the middle of a tension-filled fixed week, that's a cold reality. That Pisces moon is tricky there. That's the tricky part of it. It's not even the Saturn-Venus. It's the Pisces moon coming through. That's the tricky part. You might have to you got to keep some sort of reality in your world. You need an object. You need an object to hold to just so this is Saturn in my hand. So when the moon comes and hits through and we're dealing with this dream sequence again, and we have to deal with reality and make decisions about yes or no, whatever, it's like touch the Saturn object to keep you keep your feet on the ground and keep you centered, to keep it crystallized and defined, because you don't want to have the other situation again where you're back in dreamland with what seems to be the ultimate, the sex is really good, but blah, blah, blah situation. You know what I mean? It's just that's one way to say it. I don't know why I'm saying it this way, but I am. We should just end the stream that way. Moon goes into Aries to round out the week, as we do Moon Pluto, but there's Moon in Aries. And that's when the conversation, I think, is just more real there. And Mercury's involved. All that stuff. We still have Saturn, Venus, and we still have this dang thing that's happening right here. And we know that happens. Mercury will go over the shadow degree, the 9 and 10 degrees on the Saturday. We talked about this on the damn live stream the other day. And we do a new moon on Sunday. Okay, listen. Here's the deal. I see Lucy Fur. I see you in chat. Hey, I just want to acknowledge everybody. Here's the deal, okay? Collectively, it's a big week because an outer body planet's involved in massive T-square, but Mars-Pluto. Regeneration, what is forbidden, power structures, power struggles, yes or no choosing. We got Saturn in the game and Pluto this week that bring yes or no. Sometimes it's like this or that. It's like that's it. It could seem so everything, right? Depending. We deal with what's hidden. We deal with the occult with Pluto all the time, which I love. We deal with the risk-taking of Mars. The risk-taking with Mars, how forcefully we do things. The integrity and honor of things, of Mars being in Leo. Take the honorable route. The integrity route, even if it seems harsh, if it's in the warring factions, you do it with honor. It's because of your integrity. It's like you know where you stand because of your code, your creative code. That's what you do. If you're going to deal with Mars Pluto this week, you've got to remember those things. You get everything's flowing in your veins and you get riled up. It's great, but remember why. Remember what you're fighting for and if it's worth it and if it's worth risk taking, and have all your ethical code in order, what you believe in. Then use it to drive yourself. I get it. Pluto could draw this out of you even more. Even if you don't want to do it, a Plutonian situation could force you to do this. The key is to understand your move, that you're on a chessboard or the factions. You can actually use the two. But a lot of times, Pluto will force these things out, okay? So that's what it's actually really good at. It's what it wants to do inherently from a more deeper symbolic perspective. It's pushing out poisons and it's bringing it out regardless of the outcome. The poisons and things that do not work, the shit must be purged or come out or show itself to you or to the world. And then what happens afterwards is a whole nother something else. But that's what's up, you know? So again, we want to understand, use the mystery of Pluto. We want to deal with the uncovering, the exposing of things. We need to be careful of obsession and vengeance. All right. Saying that, that's my stream, and I got to go. I really want to appreciate all of you. I'm going to show you something here. I appreciate all of you, all my Patreon members, the channel members for YouTube. You have a code, a discounted code for sessions till the end of the month. Remind me, if you go and look into my post there for the private post on Patreon, you could see it there. You're thinking about getting a session, it's a good time to do it. I'm on fire, okay? I'm on fire. I'm there, all right? So, Earth Stara, thank you for being here. And thanks, everybody, for you astrologers out there, you people practicing. We're all astrologers. For you people practicing and stuff. Corral it all together. I'm saying this to you from a coaching perspective. As business people, as astrologers, this is a great time to see where you stand and how you do your work and how you represent yourself. It's obvious with me of how I represent myself. You've been seeing the last stream. You see how I roll. I just don't, I'm like all in. I'm going to do my thing. I don't care who, what, or whatever, right? That's my way. But I think this is a good time too, a week like this, next coming weeks, from the practitioner perspective of going through transits that deal with bigger visions and then instinct and impulse that I've been talking about. And part of that is reevaluating how one does their business or how one presents themselves. And that's what I've done personally in the back end. For me, it was just a reminder to just be even more, show more of myself, you know, and to be true to my game, to myself. And that's what I do. But for you out there, think about what I'm saying to you this week and what astrology is and why you did it, what happened to you as an astrologer or studying, practicing astrologer in the last 4 to 5 years, and what has happened from the ways one teaches, understands, sells themselves for a product and all that, I would, everything's changed. It's not what it used to be. And the next year, you're going to see a lot of people not make it in this business. So you have to be smart here now and understand the bigger vision of things and be willing to step out in different ways, to not only to survive, but I think as practitioners, and I'm telling myself this, that you must evolve and recognize the places when the doorways to evolution happen as a person and as an astrologer or witch or whatever you want to call yourself. So that's really something that's been on the back end for me, and I've been noticing and hearing things. So you got to be real with yourself that way, you know? And you don't want whatever you do from a esoteric perspective to ever become a burden, or where you don't like doing it, or it's a hassle to do, or you don't have the energy for it. That is your clue to stop and to change things and to take a break or to revamp things of how you do it. You always want to try to have the creativeness and the joy. This is with anything, right? But especially with what we do. You know, it's very important, regardless of who wrote whatever book and how many followers somebody has, or their version of translating a crazy whatever document from a long time ago. It doesn't matter. You have to understand, is the juice there for you? Does it feel right? Do I still feel like I'm like, oh, that excites me. Or that thing's coming along. I need to learn more about that. Okay, I'm into it. Instead of like, oh, I don't want to do this. I need to come up with a carousel post and a fucking reel and a whatever else. That isn't astrology. That isn't it. That's a burden and a dark demon of capitalism, and you've chosen to put yourself into. And so it's like, don't have to do it. And then if that drives your astrology and that drives the way you do things, then the juice goes, it disappears, the life. And what did I say on the last damn stream? I said you got to light the fire and you have to be where the spark is. That's with everything, and even the way that you practice. I am done ranting and preaching on this live stream. It's time for me to go. Everybody, Kiska and everybody in here, let's have a good week, okay? Let's have a good week. Use what you have. Stay creative, stay powerful. You find something to lift you up in the spark that you must fight for. You do whatever it takes to get yourself out of bed and wield your effing power, okay? So saying that, I gotta go. Anything you need to know from me is in the copy there. My newsletter sign up, my socials. Subscribe to the channel. I love it when I get subscribers. So on and so forth, okay? On that note, it's time for me to go. This is for my headphone users. I'm hearing my mom's voice in Spanish right now. Like, do it, Nicolás, do it as loco.